All right. So I think I figured out what the issue was. I was trying to use my phone as a camera like I normally do when I do FaceTime and whatnot, but it doesn't seem to want to work um, for this event. So I've just used my computer camera, which is obviously not the best. So for anybody that has stuck with us, thank you. Um, my name is Susan Rancourt. I am the race director and one of the owners for Road Races. And this is I like to call it my hometown course. I'm a coach of the cross country team at the high school, and we run the routes that you're going to be running on Saturday the 24th for the Independence Road Race. Quite a bit. It is a beautiful, beautiful course, and thank you for everybody for joining us on race day. So. Um, Little bit of history of the course. We started this race in 2015, and we've held it every year except for 2020, obviously, when we didn't have any races. And then we also had in 2021 was the first year back. It was the first race we had that didn't have any restrictions. So that was very exciting, very fun. Um, so it is part of Bristol's 4th of July celebration. Bristol has, if you haven't been to Bristol for their 4th of July celebration, it is a very amazing, amazing 2 weeks in Bristol. Bristol is home of the oldest 4th of July celebration in America. And they even did a scaled down event in 2020 just so that they can hang on to that nomenclature, which is really cool. So it is part of the 4th of July celebration. We do run along parts of most of the parade route. We kind of weave in and out of it quite a bit. So that is very, very cool. And thanks, Chris. Yes, I got it working finally. Figured out my issue. So it is a fundraiser for the 4th of July committee. They do carnivals and concerts and all sorts of fun stuff. So we are excited to be a part of it. As far as, if you've run it in past years, we used to do it in Cold State Park. Cold State Park put a moratorium on events in the park and on the bike path for hi Chris, on events from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So that's why we no longer have access to use the Colt State Park or bike path, which is great because now we get to see more of Bristol, and the race really is about Bristol, not necessarily the state park. So we're excited for that part of it. It does make it challenging to find 13 miles that you're not crossing a state road very often. But we do get to see some parts of Bristol that you only get to see by foot, which we love. There are parts of Bristol even I have never seen before I created this route. So I'm pretty excited about that. So very, very cool stuff. To start, actually, I want to mention 4 names. We've had 4 people that have run this race since the beginning. Maurice Lohman, Kim, and I'll say her name wrong, I'm so sorry, Freiling Reicher, Randall Schoolcraft, and Christine. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on it now. I just had it up. And I just wanted to say thank you to those people for being with us all this time. I'll come back to that. But they are streakers, so very, very cool. Not streaking in the strictest sense, but we're excited to have them. All right, to start off with race weekend. Actually, I'll start on Wednesday. Wednesday at 6:00, pre-registration closes. That is the last day to do transfers and deferrals. We do have a pretty liberal policy, but 6:00 on Wednesday is the deadline for it, only because after that we are out of the office, not in front of our computers, on course, bib pickups. That's the last time that we have to sit in front of our computer and really help navigate the process. So bib pickup is Thursday at 5 to 7 at Roadrunner in Providence. The next day is Friday. We are at the Maritime Center Museum on Thames Street in Bristol, which is a beautiful building, absolutely gorgeous. Parking is across the street and you have to walk a little bit, but just a great, great place to do it. It's 3 to 7 on Friday. We do have race morning bib pickup. We don't advise it. The race starts at 6:30 in the morning, which means you have to get to bib pickup at least an hour before that to make sure that you get checked in and warmed up and ready to go. So we do highly recommend getting your bib Thursday or Friday. As far as parking for the race, we don't have any designated parking spots down at Independence Park. Thames Street is where the race kind of goes out and in. So we would recommend parking on Hope Street, Gutierrez School. There's lots of public lots. Any of the side streets between Hope Street, Wood Street, High Street, Bristol, they all run parallel. there's plenty of parking. Bristol hosts concerts every night for the 2 weeks before the 4th, and there's thousands of people there. So they can certainly accommodate the race that early in the morning. We are planning a record field this year, about 900 people, which is really exciting. And we have this new two-person relay that we're really excited about too. That's new this year. If you're in the new two-person relay, thank you. You're going to be our guinea pigs to see what's working and what's not working with it. We've tried to think of all the contingencies, but you never really know until it kind of goes off and you're like, oh gosh, why don't we think of that? But yeah, we're pretty excited for the two-person relay. It gives like an introduction to the half marathon. And if you're like me and you don't like to run the heat, you can still be part of the event and maybe not have to run the full 13 miles, but it is a great addition. So again, race starts Independence on Thames Street, adjacent to Independence Park at 6:30 in the morning. We do offer an early start because there is a very strict cutoff of 3.5 hours. So you have to be done by 10 a.m. The reason being is that Bristol this time of year is just a popular place. And we just have to be off the roads by that point. So if you're not going to make the cutoff, you have the option of an early start. You would start at 5:30 in the morning. What you would do is arrive to the start line 10 minutes beforehand, check in with a timer, and let them know. And I will say we've had some people who are looking to start early to beat the heat or because they have other things to go on. That's not the reason that we do the early start. If you finish in under 2.5 hours, you will be disqualified if you've started early. The reason being is that there's not that many people on the course. The aid stations aren't set up. It's not a legitimate race if you're in the thick of things with a 2.5 hour time limit and you start early. It is only for people who need that over the 3.5 hour time limit to start at that time. As far as the course, we are running it in reverse this year, which we're pretty excited about. It's so what will happen is we'll do all the downtown part first, and then we'll finish going along the water at Roger Williams and through Monkey Wrench. And we've eliminated Blythewell this year. We're using Columban Fathers, and then you'll finish along Thames Street, Hope Street, and then back down Independence Park. So the argument is that you get some of the hills out earlier in your race, and then there's less congestion with the downtown part because we're going to finish that part off earlier. And so we're going to start at pretty much the same location. We're going to go Thames Street backwards, and then you're going to go up Chestnut. Then you're going to weave through the downtown section, and then we'll go Roger Williams. We'll go the beautiful underneath the Mount Hope Bridge, which is my favorite location of the whole race. Just literally my jaw just drops every time I'm down there. Monkey Wrench, Columban Fathers, and then back down. As I said earlier, which I didn't realize nobody could hear me, but I did post a blog earlier today that goes mile by mile over the race course. So if you want to visit roadraces.com, click on media and then scroll down to the blog post, and you can see there it will go mile by mile. There's a course map that you can click on, and you can like kind of follow along with what we're saying. So that's a good way to kind of get a feel for the race. Aid stations will be at every 2 miles. We will have water, cliff, and noon for an electrolyte. The first aid station only has water, so just be prepared for that. And the other thing that I do want to mention is whether the sun's out or the sun's not out, this race is always humid. The key to this is to hydrate in the days before the race and the hours before the race, not once you're thirsty and you're running on course. Not to be said that you won't get thirsty, but proper hydration and nutrition comes in the days before the event. So make sure you're taking electrolytes, making sure you're not overhydrating. It's tricky. There's a whole urine test. If you go to noon.com, you can see just proper hydration there. But make sure you're hydrating the days before for the race, just to have the best possible performance. We'll have plenty of water, all that good stuff for you. But that's the key to really get prepared in the days beforehand for an event of this long. It is an endurance event. As far as the relay, again, new this year, the exchange will be at the Roger Williams aid station, 7.5 miles. We'll have signs for the exchange zone, so you'll know when you're going to exchange your bib. How it's going to work is we're going to give you one bib and a race belt. The race belt you'll clip onto your waist, and that's going to be your baton that like if you were doing a relay, if you're any track and field people on here back in the day, high school track and field, that's your baton. So you'll unclip it at the exchange zone and you'll hand it to your second leg, your second runner. Um, Only one person has to pick up their bib. We will give you at bib pickup your race belt, your bib, your one medal, because we're only going to give out the finisher medal at the end to the person that crosses the finish line. So the first leg ideally will get the medal, and both shirts will be at bib pickup. The question has come up as to whether one of the relay runners can actually run the whole race, and that is a very tricky question. We allot our supplies based on heartbeats, how many people are registered for the race. So if you're a relay runner, you're considered one person, one heartbeat. We plan for one person to be on the course at any time. So if you were to be on the course for more than your leg, you're going to be taking away from water, hydration, room on the course, other things, maybe even a medal. Like if you were to cross the finish line and our volunteer doesn't know that you already got a medal, that could take away from another runner. And one person may not make a difference, but multiple people will definitely make a difference. And I've had this question asked of me a couple of times. So that's why we're going to be kind of strict in saying, no, you can't run the whole distance. If you want to cheer on your fellow teammate, the course does crisscross quite a bit. So just find a way to, join, like cheer for them on aid stations. Maybe bring a bike. You can bike at certain parts to meet them. But we're just asking that you're not run the whole distance if you're registered as a relay runner. The other part of the relay is that you have to transport yourself to the exchange area at Roger Williams. So you're going to have to exchange keys when you exchange your bib, I would guess. Unless you want to run back, that's up to you. It is a relatively short distance from Roger Williams back. If you do want to make that distance, but there is no transportation at this time because we only have it's kind of a new event for us. And Roger Williams has got super easy parking, easy in, easy out. We will say that the course does run past that parking lot. So make sure you get there early. You're not running over any runners as you get in to the parking lot. Use RaceJoy to track your runner. RaceJoy is a GPS based, so it's not chip time. It's based on your phone. So you do have to carry your phone with you, but you can see exactly where your runner is. So you know when to arrive to greet them at that exchange zone. So that's kind of a cool thing. And this year we're actually working with Roger Williams, and the Bristol Fire Department has been great. We hope to have a misting tent in Roger Williams if it gets hot and humid. So just keep an eye on that. Again, we're working through all the logistics on that. It's the first year. We've been talking through the DPW, Fire Department, and Roger Williams. So that should be a nice refresher about the halfway mark, a little over the halfway mark as it starts to heat up. Post-race party, which I think everybody's excited about, is actually at Pivotal, which you're going to cross past at mile 3. They're actually at the mile 3 mile marker. They're 2 or 3 blocks up from the race finish. And Pivotal is in like an old mill. It's just a very cool, eclectic location. Your bib will have a tear off on it. So after the race, walk over to Pivotal. It's probably your best bet, especially if you're parking somewhere in between the start and finish and Wood Street. Show them your bib and you'll get a free beer. How fun is that? They're gonna be there for us. They're hoping to do a 4th of July beer, but they have let us know that it's not going to be ready, unfortunately, for the race. So sorry about that, but they do have lots of tasty beers. We will have in Independence Park. Polar Beverages will be there. Rhode Island National Guard will be there. Free massages, thanks to OPT and Pappas. Free photography for you guys. Who else is going to be there? I forget. But we want to thank all those people, as well as John Andrade, our insurance, who's also a sponsor. They've been our business insurance for a while. Shelley is a great person. So if anybody needs insurance, John Andrade is great, especially for races. And I think that's about all I've got to cover. So if anybody I feel like I've done this a few times already, but if anybody has any questions about the race and anything I've missed, please sit me up in the chat. I can see all the chats that are kind of coming in now. Any words of advice I can give you is that it's warm, again, hydrate. Take the aid at the aid stations when you go past it, even if it's just water. We also try to be as sustainable as possible, so we ask your help, and we'll have 5-gallon buckets at every mile marker. Just toss your trash in there rather than on the course. Just help us out with that. And so, especially your gel packets, try and throw them even if you're near the bucket. Well, we'll pick them up. We know that runners aren't the best basketball players, but yes, if you could get the trash into the buckets, certainly very appreciative. Again, that blog post is on roadraces.com, and then go to the media link on the website. Media will have our blog posts, our YouTube videos are hosted on there. I'm trying to think what else is on there. Press, I think, is on there as well. But our blog does have um, that that race preview going mile by mile with the course map. The course map is actually an interactive Google map. So if you need to know where the race starts and finishes, there's a link on there. All the mile markers are all GPS based. This is where all our course marshals will be. So we've done a pretty intensive map this year for anybody that is interested in that. Um, and I think that's about all I've got. So I don't see any other questions coming in. But if you do think of anything between now and race day, just shoot us an email, info@roadraces.us. We try to get back to everybody almost within like an hour, sometimes max 24 hours, depending on how close we are to the race and if we're out like marking the course or something like that. But we do pride ourselves on trying to get back to your questions as quickly as possible. Our FAQs, I will say, have, as we get a lot of the same questions, they tend to go on the FAQs, obviously. So a lot of your questions will be answered there. This is actually our new shirt that we just got in that we're pretty excited about. 40 Run, because 401 is the only area code in Rhode Island. So that's actually on our roadraces.com shop. We just got them in and they're really like nice and comfy. I really like it. But we will have these and some other things on race morning too, and at bib pickup if anybody's interested in them. So thank you guys for sticking with us through all the technical difficulties. I think I figured out what the issue was. And despite the settings being the way I wanted them, still just have to use the webcam. So thank you again. We love having you guys. We're excited to see all your super happy faces super early in the morning. And we will see you on the 24th. Bye-bye.